Matt Watkins here, back with another tutorial video. This is the third and last one of my little series. This one's on Mixdown, but mixing down is such like a broad general term, so I'm just going to sort of cover like the real basics. I'm going to go through some stems of my song Zulu and show you how like I would go about mixing it down just with EQs and compression and stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to be doing the basics and keeping it simple. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Alright, so I'm just going to go through my stems of Zulu and just show you like a very basic way of mixing down and just try and give you some tips and stuff. So I've sort of simplified the stems here a bit. Now I haven't sidechained my lead or bass yet because I wanted to show you sort of how I do that. I usually use this plugin here called LFO tool, which I reckon is really easy to use because you can sort of draw in how you want your sidechaining to sound. So I'll show you what that sounds like. And then you can sort of just move this around to make it suit whatever you want it to be. And then for the sub bass I would do something pretty similar, just maybe a bit shorter. So yeah, this is what we're working with. This is sort of pre-mixed down.
Let's get down to business.
Now, what I would do first is maybe get my kick and make sure it's the loudest thing in the mix, because I like my kick to be the loudest and then everything just a little bit below. So, turn the kick up. Now with my kick, you can see I've shortened it here. It was originally a bit longer like this, but when your kick's too long and you have a bass as well, they can clash a bit because it's too many low end sounds at once. So it can be a good idea sometimes just to shorten up your kick so that it works better with your bass. And it's also a good idea to sort of compare your kick and your bass like soloed out, because you want them to work well together because they're like both low end sounds. Now another thing you can do for your kick is add a kick top, which sort of makes your kick a bit punchier. Alright, now one of the most fundamental things to do when you're mixing down is cutting all the lows out of your sounds. Just because you want to sort of get rid of all the frequencies that aren't really necessary. Now for example, with a sound like a clap, you might think there's no low end really. If you have a look at the spectrum, you can see all this all these low end frequencies that don't really need to be there, so you can just go ahead and just get rid of them. Now you want to do that to pretty much every sound, is to just cut out the lows. So let's go through and do that. But some sounds you need lows, obviously, like bass. So we'll just do the ones where you don't need the low. Now with a sound like noise, you can cut out almost all of the low to low mid frequencies. Even some of the mids, and same with something like a ride. Cut out lots of it, just to clean it right up. Now I'll just keep on cutting loads of things. See all the low frequencies there? And it doesn't sound any different, but you've cut out all these frequencies, which can help a lot. Now with this fill, because there's no kick or anything there, say with the drums, because there's no kick at that point, you don't really need to cut the low of the drums as much because there is no low end really clashing with it. But with the synth I'll cut the low. So now all my lows are cut. You probably can't really notice a difference, but it helps the mix a lot, and when you master it, yeah, it's just a bit cleaner. Now with your bass, you'd almost do the opposite, because you just need the low end for the bass. So you'd go and cut out all the high. Now, same sort of thing with this tom here. Where's the tom? This tom. I'll probably bring down a bit of the top end. So obviously you'd spend like ages fiddling around with the EQs, but I'm just trying to do it real basic so we can get through this quick. Now the lead, I would want to EQ and add some reverb just to sort of beef it up a bit. So I would sort of add some mids and some highs. Now with my reverb, I sometimes do like one with a lot of dry wet and then a very short decay time, and then another reverb with not much dry wet and a longer decay time. I don't know, I just like how it sounds. Now I like to do my EQ after the reverb because that way you're cutting the lows of the verb as well. And then I also like to put the sidechain after all of it because that way you're sidechaining your reverb. Because I feel like if you do, because some people would put the sidechain first and reverb after, but I feel like then you have reverb on top of your kick and stuff. So I personally reckon it's better to put the sidechain after. So yeah, that's sounding better already. Now, like another big thing with mixing down is just levels of volume. So you might think there, you know, the claps can come up a bit, the rides you can't hear much. The bass probably isn't loud enough. Compress the bass a bit. So yeah, that's already sounding better. And then perhaps add some verb to this riser. Add some reverb and some delay. So yeah, I reckon it sounded much better. Another cool tip to do to check your mix is sort of see how it sounds in mono. So put a utility on your master and put the width to 0, and then this is like to test how it sounds in mono. You sort of want your tunes to sound good in both mono and stereo. That way you can play it on any device, like on an iPhone or at a club or on a big stage. So yeah, it's all pretty like basic tips, but like I use the same concepts in all my tunes now. It's just a matter of your ears getting better and knowing where to use them. So essentially you just want to get rid of all unwanted frequencies and like work on what levels you want stuff. So I have my kick the loudest, then maybe the bass and the lead, and then everything else sort of under that. And then just go through and like listen to each channel and make sure you like how they sound. So yeah, like this is what we have now. And this was before. So yeah, it's a little different, but it can go a long way, especially after you master it. So yeah, before. This is after. Alright, so that's the last episode of this little series. I've had heaps of fun doing these tutorials and you guys seem to love them, so I'll definitely keep doing them. So chuck a comment below of what you want to see a tutorial of next and I'll definitely get onto it. I love doing this because this is how I started producing. I used to watch YouTube videos and all that sort of thing, so it feels good to sort of be able to do it back for all you guys. Thanks for all the support on these and see you later!